The New Orleans Saints just engineered an offseason masterpiece that absolutely blindsided the entire National Football League. Over a frantic 48-hour window, this front office utterly transformed a deeply flawed depth chart into an absolute juggernaut that has everyone talking. General Manager Mickey Loomis finally lost his patience, woke up choosing violence, and began taking massive swings at the open market. We are talking about a lethal backfield threat, a concrete barricade for the trenches, and a dynamic receiver who entirely rewrites the offensive script. Throw in a vicious linebacker to replace a Canton-bound legend, plus a special teams maneuver so downright genius it literally manufactured draft capital out of thin air. Quarterback Tyler Shough rushed to his social feeds the second these bombshells dropped, posting 2 capitalized words, "Yes, sir." That kid completely understands the magnitude of this shift. Management just gifted him a loaded arsenal to make his sophomore campaign under Kellen Moore dangerously explosive. Forget the battered squad that dragged its feet through last autumn. This is no longer a depleted roster, hemorrhaging talent at the backfield, the interior line, the second level, and fourth down duties all at once. Every single glaring weakness was violently eradicated. They refused to settle for cheap band-aids. Instead, they dropped massive multi-year contracts on battle-tested warriors who routinely devour over 1,000 snaps a year. They locked down defensive anchors boasting 3 consecutive seasons of triple-digit takedowns, and prodigal sons returning to Louisiana because they violently believe in this coaching staff. But here is the terrifying reality for the rest of the NFC South. New Orleans still possesses a massive war chest of available funds. They possess heavy leverage for contract wizardry. They clutch the 8th overall selection in the upcoming draft, and this spending spree is nowhere near its conclusion. Today, we are tearing into every single monumental strike the Saints executed, the blockbuster signings, the shrewd trades, the financial gymnastics, the sheer shockwave sent through the locker room, and the agonizing truth about a beloved franchise icon that everyone is utterly terrified to voice. But it is on all of our minds. Stick around, and you will definitively see why insiders crown the black and gold as the undisputed champions of the 2026 free agency period. The madness ignites with the very transaction that had Tyler Shough screaming from the rooftops, a foundational shockwave that completely rewires this offense from its core. Before we unleash the details, smash that like and subscribe button for top-tier gridiron coverage. We need 500 likes on this breakdown, so hit the button right now. David Edwards, signing with New Orleans, was not just a roster move. It was an identity shift that will terrorize defenses. A 4-year pact worth $61 million, utterly devoid of any fake void years. That structure proves management is finished playing games and fully committed to an elite trench monster. Edwards dominated up in Buffalo over his last 3 campaigns, evolving into a brutally consistent interior enforcer, surrendering a mere 2 sacks and drawing just 3 flags across, over 1,000 agonizing snaps. It lacks glamour, but that sheer dominance keeps passers breathing and ball carriers thriving. Now envision this menacing front. Kelvin Banks anchoring the blind side, David Edwards bullying at left guard, Eric McCoy snapping the rock, Cesar Ruiz holding the right interior, and Talisi Fuaga dominating at right tackle. Contrast that juggernaut with the nightmare of last autumn, when Trevor Penning and a carousel of desperate backups bled pressure constantly. For years, that left guard spot has been a cursed, revolving door of mediocrity. That curse is officially broken. While Ruiz remains a slight gamble and center depth needs a tweak before the draft, this heavily armored unit can now build impenetrable pockets and gouge massive craters in the run game. The ultimate beneficiary here is Tyler Shough. You simply cannot groom a rookie passer while he is fleeing for his absolute life on every single down. Greatness demands a clean pocket, unshakable trust in the big men up front, and the precious seconds required to let Kellen Moore's aerial assault naturally unfold. Edwards practically guarantees that safety. Yet securing the trenches is merely chapter 1, because the front office also hijacked the most terrifying backfield weapon available on the open market. Travis Etienne possessed endless leverage. The Jaguars begged him to stay. The Broncos offered fortunes, and multiple rivals circled like sharks. Ultimately, the superstar chose his roots. 4 years, $52 million. Straight back to the Louisiana soil that built him. From tearing up turf at Jennings High to conquering college ball at Clemson, the 27-year-old phenom is officially donning the black and gold. This is not just a roster acquisition. It is cinematic poetry, and his jaw-dropping resume justifies every single dime. We are talking over 1,000 rushing yards last season on 260 touches, alongside 7 rushing touchdowns, plus 6 receiving daggers for a staggering 13 total trips to the end zone, a career apex. He completely shattered the 1,000-yard rushing ceiling in 2023 and 2022, consistently generating north of 1,400 all-purpose yards. We are witnessing a true dual-threat monster who snatches passes with elite hands, violently explodes through gaps, and flat-out refuses to be denied at the goal line. Financially, this mega deal crowns him the 7th richest ball carrier in professional football based on yearly average salary. Critics might scream that they overspent, eagerly pointing to Kenneth Walker's recent haul from the Kansas City Chiefs. But Loomis is not writing checks for what Etienne accomplished in Florida. They are betting millions on the absolute havoc he will wreak behind a fortified line with Kellen Moore pulling the strings. Just remember the sheer devastation Moore engineered on the ground over in Philadelphia. Hand that offensive mastermind an every-down bulldozer like Etienne, a lethal runner, a slippery route runner, and an infallible safety valve for Tyler Shough whenever the pressure spikes on third down. The message echoing through the facility is deafeningly clear. Travis Etienne is the undisputed #1 running back in New Orleans. However, crowning a new king creates catastrophic collateral damage, effectively burying the legacy of a legendary franchise staple whose snap count is about to vanish. Let us be honest, nobody wastes a breath discussing punters during the off-season frenzy, let alone dedicates highlight reels to them. Yet what New Orleans just executed on 4th down might just be the most deviously brilliant tactical strike of their entire campaign. Step 1. They poached Ryan Wright with a 4-year, $14 million contract, featuring $8 million in ironclad guarantees. Step 2. A mere 24 hours later, they pawned off Kai Kroger to the Houston Texans, magically upgrading a 2028 7th-round pick into a 6th-round selection. Let that sheer audacity sink in. They heavily upgraded the specialist spot while stealing future draft assets for a guy destined for the waiver wire anyway. That transcends standard team building. That was a cold-blooded masterstroke from Mickey Loomis. Just gaze at the absolute punting clinic Wright put on tape last year for the Minnesota Vikings. 30 kicks trapped within the 20, grabbing 6th place league-wide. A fierce 44.5-yard net average. Good for an elite 3rd place overall. A colossal 77-yard bomb topped the league. He averaged 49 yards every single attempt. The franchise had lacked a weapon booming over 48 yards a season since Thomas Morstead back in 2016. That miserable drought is dead. If you believe punters are worthless, remember the endless times New Orleans gifted their rivals prime field position due to absolutely putrid kicks. Remember those brutal drives starting pinned against our own end zone simply because the rival kicker was superior? Special teams dragged this squad down in 2025. Phil Galliano sensed the crisis, struck fast, and secured a totally elite kicking weapon. Hidden yardage wins the brutal wars that highlight reels completely ignore. New Orleans just eradicated a flaw most casual fans overlook. Yet the fan base is obsessing over the defense, as the franchise just lost an icon and desperately needed a warrior to fill shoes deemed completely impossible to replace. Demario Davis walked. 2 years, $22 million, $15 million guaranteed with the New York Jets. That one leaves a brutal scar. He was the fiery soul of this unit for an era, and his exit ripped a huge hole right through the center of the field. But this is exactly where the front office proved their sheer brilliance. No sudden panic, no reckless spending on a totally mismatched star. They summoned a warrior who already bleeds black and gold. Kaden Ellis returns. 3 years, $33 million, $23 million guaranteed. Originally a New Orleans 7th-round pick back in 2019. Snatched by Atlanta 3 years ago, then ruthlessly stolen back from a bitter rival. That feels personal. The stats scream dominance. Over 100 brutal tackles in every single one of his last 3 campaigns over in Atlanta. The 4th best pass rushing mark among all linebackers via Pro Football Focus. 30 hurries in 2025 alone, ranking an elite 2nd among off-ball defenders per next-gen stats. 15 more pressures than the next closest guy out there. He is no Demario Davis. Matching them is deeply unjust, but Ellis injects a violent pass-rushing threat from the 2nd level that seamlessly ignites Brandon Staley's complex defensive architecture. He plays with raw violence, delivers results, and understands the intense pressure of the Superdome. Now, examine the grander scheme of that unit. Pete Werner might just become dead weight. Trading him post-June 1st saves New Orleans over $6 million. Danny Stutzman flashed sheer brilliance last year, positioning himself as the ultimate partner for Ellis. The linebacker core is secretly forging a dynasty, yet the defense was not the sole unit hiding a massive shocker, as the franchise secured an offensive monster that completely revolutionizes how Kellen Moore draws up his battle plans. New Orleans aggressively pursued Noah Fant last year. They hosted him, sold him on their grand vision, yet he broke their hearts and picked the Cincinnati Bengals instead. This year he chose the Saints. That proves a monumental shift. The coaches relentlessly chase their target. Kellen Moore demanding his arrival again screams volumes about the devastating ways he intends to unleash this man. Fant signed a 2-year pact, instantly injecting this offense with a lethal dimension it desperately lacked. Denver's old first-round prize has battled through Seattle and Cincinnati. This tight end has absorbed complex playbooks and thrives universally. 34 catches, 288 yards, and 3 scores last year. Those basic stats will not shatter records. But that is entirely irrelevant to why this massive move matters. Fant's true power lies in manipulating formations. Anticipate heavy 12 personnel, twin tight end packages that paralyze defenses, leaving them terrified of both the devastating run and pass. Juwan Johnson was absolutely thrilled at the prospect of going to war alongside Fant long before the ink dried. Brace for the hidden truth everyone ignores. Fant boasts over 3,000 career inline blocking snaps. Johnson trails at 1,400. That gap is completely staggering. Fant is far beyond a simple catching threat. He is a violent blocker who fortifies the ground assault from a wildly different dimension than any other weapon on this entire squad. For Tyler Shough, this unlocks a world of schematic chaos, relentless pre-snap shifting, and terrifying mismatches created before the snap. Moore finally possesses the arsenal to forge an unstoppable juggernaut. Yet these blockbuster moves carry a devastating price, sparking the most heartbreaking saga of the franchise's offseason. It is the dark reality no one dares to vocalize, though it consumes everyone's thoughts. Alvin Kamara has reigned as the undisputed king of this backfield since 2017. 5 Pro Bowls, endless yardage, era-defining magic. Yet Travis Etienne's $52 million deal sent shockwaves echoing league-wide. Adam Schefter dropped a bombshell. Rival squads are stalking Kamara's status, praying New Orleans might finally cut ties. The team altered his deal days before free agency launched, utilizing the 50% rule, ensuring 0 extra guaranteed cash gets piled onto the $3 million already locked in. This ruthless maneuver grants the brass total freedom to sever ties whenever they truly desire. That single chilling detail flipped the narrative in an instant. Kamara turns 31 this July. He survived just 11 games last year, grinding out 471 yards and 1 sole score. It marked the absolute lowest statistical point of his life, but data cannot measure his godlike status in this city. He has fiercely declared multiple times he refuses to ever don another jersey. His raw quotes revealed a proud gladiator who would rather abandon the game forever than rep rival colors. Retirement stands as a truly real threat. A trade might yield a day 3 pick, maybe a 5th rounder tops, but no return package could ever equal his legendary aura. The franchise might retain him through camp and hunt for blockbuster deals near the deadline. But one absolute truth remains. Etienne is the king now. Kendre Miller looks utterly expendable. Devin Neal flashed raw power last year but needs polish. This backfield's hierarchy has been violently overthrown. Whatever Kamara's fate, his name commands eternal reverence. Yet New Orleans refuses to stop scheming, as the ultimate masterstroke of this chaotic offseason remains shrouded in mystery. The team wildly overhauled Eric McCoy's deal, freeing almost $7.5 million in cap space. They bolted on a void year just to breathe, and they hold more wild cards. Carl Granderson's deal could be tweaked for over $8 million in massive savings. Cesar Ruiz might unlock over $6 million extra. Massive funds await if the brass decides to strike aggressively prior to the draft. Forget wild spending sprees. This squad operates with a lethal strategy, hoarding precious ammunition for the explosive battles ahead. Right now, top priority, lock Chris Olave. Pierce bagged that huge 4-year, $116 million massive fortune in Indianapolis. His baseline is firmly carved in stone. He was always destined to shatter that $30 million annual mark. The absolute prediction lands at 4 years, $132 million flat, 33 annually, plus $80 million crammed into fierce guarantees. Every wasted week forces the price to violently skyrocket. Securing this deal now shields their cap while permanently chaining down the deadliest offensive monster on the squad. Then comes the wild draft. Since they grabbed a guard, running back, and a savage linebacker, that massive 8th pick is an entirely open canvas. Caleb Downs is a strong match. Sonny Styles warrants an intense look if he falls. Carnell Tate, Mason Lehman, Jordan Tyson, Ruben Bain, all terrifying possibilities. New Orleans completely killed drafting for need. They can now simply capture the best pure talents. John Ridgeway boldly inked a 2-year, $6.2 million deal to own the interior. Alante Taylor bolted to the Titans. Rashid Shaheed fled to Seattle. Those exits burned, but New Orleans quickly reloaded at every single turn. Final free agency grade? An A-, nearing a flawless A. Mickey Loomis masterfully cooked. New Orleans' destiny is fully transformed now, and Tyler Shough is standing squarely in the middle.